Put your hands up.
No,
What? But I've got a gun.
I don't care.
Doesn't make any sense.
Maxing out any stat in a video game makes you feel like you just achieved the 5 stones from the Infinity Gauntlet. Except it's just one big stone that you use to completely clobber the opposition in the most violent way possible. Alright, maybe I took it a bit too far in the first 30 seconds of the video, but hear me out. Maxing out in a video game may give you a pinnacle of strength, speed, and or intelligence, but as with most extremes, there's bound to be some consequences behind your actions. Take strength for instance. Sure, you might be able to Shoryuken a guy to the Shadow Realm, but if you try that shit with a speed type or a range fighter, good luck trying to hit him when you attack as fast as Patinkin from Guilty Gear. Just like in a video game, we have the power to modify, enhance, and utilize the stats we put into ourselves. And just like a video game, there can be some not so pleasant consequences for taking power stat maxing too far. So I went ahead and did the world a favor by creating a tier list of a few of the things you may want to avoid, consider, or absolutely must at least try. So without any further blue balling ado, I present to you the maxing tier list. First, let's start with ant maxing. Ant maxing is like a debuff and a stat buffer at the same time. Imagine having 99% of your human strength sapped, but you manage to get a 10 times strength multiplier and a wall climb passive. To make things worse, you also can't think for yourself due to the hive mind passive your stupid ant queen decided to put into your body like a Tesla Neuralink. Not to mention that you can literally get stepped on by 98% of the universal population. This includes Tims, feet, basketballs, trees, bottles of water, asteroids, cats, dogs, and if you're lucky, maybe some loose change some guy dropped while trying to find his lighter. Definitely F tier. Meme maxing is like collecting those shiny Pokemon cards that guarantee your virginity for the next 10 years. Sure, it's fun to share with the boys, but if your crush saw what you guys were laughing about, do you really think she would give you a chance? Memeing is pure brain rot activity, and it's too damn relatable. As a person that engages in brain rot and meme culture myself, I personally understand the power that memes carry. I mean, I practically base my entire channel around turning memes into life lessons. It's just too damn good to ignore, but also totally useless beyond memeing with the boys or getting a ton of fake life currency on Reddit. So as passionate as I am about meme maxing, I'm gonna have to put this one in D tier. Reckless maxing is like having a berserker stat for when shit hits the fan, except you're pretty much bound to be the guy that has to step into any fight your idiot friend decided to cook up just because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. The good news is that if you do decide to reckless max, women and men alike will respect you for the guy that gets shit done. Well, at least in the kicking ass part. But at the same time, you're likely gonna end up like Spike if you keep that same energy for too long. All it takes is one YN with the switch to turn you into Swiss cheese, so just keep that in mind if you're considering this C tier way of life. Achieving peak physical form is undeniably a choice that can get you a lot of success in life. I mean, there's an entire career path in the fitness industry for bodybuilders, crossfitters, and even the dreaded fitness baiters. You're probably wondering what the hell is a fitness baiter? Well, firstly, I made it up, and secondly, it does have a definition. A fitness baiter is a fitness influencer, typically a woman that uses the fitness and Gooner algorithm to their advantage to promote their spicy content. These folks aren't really here to show you how to get fit. They just want what's in your pockets, not what's in your pants. They don't care if you decide to aspire to get fit like them. They only care about showing off their bodies so you can pay a premium to commit the habitual vice of whacking your weed. Disregarding the obvious stuff like health, aesthetic, and confidence, being a gym maxer means a ton of guys are going to want to be your friend just because you're so jacked. Plus, girls are definitely going to want you for your body cause congratulations buddy, you're a status symbol now. This means that she'll post you on her stories, always want to get busy with you, and of course, constantly caressing your chiseled physique, making you feel like a Chad. Bad news is, you could be prone to muscle dysmorphia. Muscle dysmorphia is a psychological disorder characterized by an obsessive belief that one's body is insufficiently muscular or lean, despite often possessing a well-developed physique. This condition may lead to significant psychological distress and maladaptive behaviors, including the use of performance-enhancing drugs to have an edge to your physique at the cost of your health. Misuse of PEDs is often associated with a range of adverse psychological and physical health effects. Users may experience liver and kidney damage, cardiovascular issues, and hormonal imbalances. Psychologically, steroids can lead to mood disturbances, aggression, and dependence, potentially exacerbating underlying muscle dysmorphia symptoms and contributing to a cycle of continued use and worsening mental health. Sure, it can be avoided by simply not doing it and knowing your limits, but imagine maxing out a 550 bench press for 8 weeks straight. No matter how hard you prep, your 1 rep max is capped. Eventually, your mammal brain is going to turn to something you probably shouldn't just to push past your limits. Another major problem with gym maxing is the potential for injury. Regardless of all the serious precautions of gym maxing, I'm gonna still have to throw this in A tier. It's just way too many benefits to being swole. Just be careful of how far you compare to your peers, and you can definitely turn this skill into a lifelong one. Just like the name, looks maxing is solely designed to maximize your appearance. While it can boost your self-confidence, social opportunities, and of course, your opportunity with the ladies, it can also foster an unhealthy focus on appearance over substance. If we switch the optics, imagine the stuck-up short-stacked brunette or the airheaded blonde you tried to have a conversation with. Chances are, it was about as stale as the pop cereal you forgot to throw away the year before. Sure, it's probably because she wasn't really that into you, but even so, most socially calibrated individuals at least try to make interactions pleasant amongst people. But completely ignoring that unspoken social rule likely means her beauty gives her permission to lack social skills, as her looks have likely been serving her since she realized that the guys in the sandbox were willing to share their lemon heads with her just because her hair looked nice. Still, in moderation, maintaining a good appearance can positively influence personal and professional relationships. I mean, let's be honest. As guys, you're likely to act nice to the fridges so you can have an opportunity with the snacks they're carrying. So it wouldn't be too crazy to say that upgrading your appearance means that maybe the snacks will start wanting to be in your fridge. I'd put this at B tier. Jester maxing, aka being the funniest guy in the room, is a bit more psychological. The goal of maxing out your funny is to make everyone laugh so you can emotionally and mentally disarm them. Think about it. When was the last time you were at a comedy show and everyone was tense and anxious about the jokes that were being told? If you're going into a comedy show, you'll be more receptive to things being said by the comedian, even if you don't necessarily find the jokes funny. The comedian's job is to put the people at ease, to have his or her audience laugh their negative feelings away and just enjoy the moment. The only difference between jester maxing and being a comedian is the stage. Comedians are on a platform and you're just a guy trying to make everyone around you laugh so you can be favored by your peers. I know it may begin to come off as a bit psychopathic from my explanation, but it's the truth. No one tries to be a funny guy unless they want to receive some degree of power over people's reactions. There are almost no popular, arguably unpopular comedians who don't have a dark side to their comedic escapade. Beyond the social clout and control you can have over people, it also comes at a cost: offending people. Jokes can make a lot of people laugh, but it can also inspire jealousy amongst your peers and hatred in your audience. The visceral nature of jokes is they have an undertone of truth to them, so it's a bit of a balancing act to know just how far you should take it. So unless you want to be in the next prankster gets what he deserves video, I highly suggest taking caution and maxing this skill. I'm gonna put this one in B tier. Aggression is like gas on a stove. How much beef is in a pan determines how high you turn up the heat. It's amazing for competition when you want to control the pace of the game. It's also necessary in getting what you desire, as initiative and aggression are damn near the same word. The only separation between the two is how aggressive the words sound amongst each other. Aggressive people are also more likely to be quick-witted, which is a desired quality of a competent leader. This sort of power is like having a symbiote inside you. Sure, you can get faster, stronger, and maybe even smarter, but you have to be wary about human psychology. If people are forced into making decisions, they are less likely to follow demands. People also tend to be overly friendly to hyper-aggressive people in order to not face the wrath of one of their outbursts. This makes it a little bit harder for people to be vulnerable with you, or it can not only be used as a weapon against them, but also their level of comfort with you just isn't there. Aggression definitely has a few downs, but overall, it's good to have control over your life, so I'm gonna drop this guy in A tier. IT or intelligence maxing would have been the best stat you could max if it weren't for the absolute abundance of potential self-awareness and social isolation. Being intelligent is like having an F1 car. Sure, no commercial vehicle can ever hope to keep up with you on a freeway, and the chances of the police, aka anyone who wants to engage in combating your brilliant mind, catching you is about 1 in 10 billion. However, the cost for repairs are just too damn high. You'll have to constantly vibe check your own as well as the minds of your peers to make sure your overly receptive brain is in the loop. You'll also likely need a ton more mental stimulation so you don't just get bored and randomly decide to pull a Germany, if you know what I mean. Regardless of all that, you can't deny it. Being a smart guy is still a flex, so A+ tier. Next, we have the popular Sanguine, aka focusing on social skills and charisma to maximize one's ability to attract and maintain relationships with people. The psychological benefit of a strong social connection is well documented. From the Victorian aristocrats who had a finesse for gathering a crowd, to the Instagram personalities we see in our algorithms. The authenticity of their spark is what makes these people so captivating to watch and interact with. A clear-cut example of someone is a guy that purposely becomes the center of attention to bring his boys into the interaction so everyone can have a good time, versus the guy that decides to become the center of attention so he can take all of the social credit, whilst his friends have to sit there and envy his popularity from a distance. He might decide to introduce you into the interaction, but only after he's established himself as the top guy of your group. You're just a pawn in his social group to prop himself up. Girls do this too. We've all seen the hot girl with a group of mid-tier friends that always get glances from the guys. She's almost always soaking up the attention from her friends while they give off a half smile or a fake laugh every now and again. But we all know the truth. They're all just pieces on her little chessboard that she can use and abuse. But beyond all of that, I've got to put this one in S tier. There's no way that the power to literally crowd control people isn't an S tier ability. Like, let's be for real. And last but most certainly not least, we have conscientiousness maxing. That's a pretty big mouthful. This version of maxing balances hard work, meticulous planning, and a deep understanding of life's complexities. High levels of conscientiousness are linked to career success, stable relationships, and effective problem-solving skills. Effective communication, goal orientation, planning and persistence, and self-regulation are just a few of the superpowered mental abilities that someone at this level of conscientiousness can have. There's no telling how far a person can take this journey of conscientiousness. Some might just achieve enough self-awareness to control their habits, while others are able to tap into this skill so deeply that they can perceive the mental and emotional states of people at a simple glance. For someone who is capable of fully understanding the complexity of their being, is likely to have a higher receptiveness towards other people. It's definitely a skill that I'll have to put in double S tier. Literally gigabrain stuff right here. From the comedic to the highly conscientious, we've looked at how pushing one's attributes to the extremes can play out in real life. Though some of these skills can be a bit more volatile than others, maxing anything out is honestly pretty admirable. So now I'm a bit curious, what skills in the tier list would you want to max? I would love to hear them in the comments below. I promise I won't post your answers on my personal Instagram for clout purposes. I just want to know. If you enjoyed the tier list video, please let me know if you want a part 2. I've got so much more maxing stuff I want to talk about, but unfortunately, making a 3-hour video on one topic isn't really my style. In the meantime, press that little like button so the world can experience the FMC mentality like yourself. Or send this to a friend that isn't afraid of a bit of brain rot every now and again. But for now, I really hope you enjoyed this crazy video I made. And as always, thank you for listening.